Imma get a little clinical for 1 second and then go back to that. Um, there's another part that I wanted to bring up in the book. It's on page 207, and it says, "As long as people are either hyper aroused or shut down, they cannot learn from experience. Even if they manage to stay in control, they become so uptight." Alcoholics Anonymous calls this white knuckle sobriety, that they are inflexible, stubborn, and depressed. Recovery from trauma involves the restoration of executive functioning, and with it, self confidence and the capacity for playfulness and creativity. And so, if I want to change post traumatic reactions, we have to access the emotional brain and do limbic system therapy, which is essentially repairing faulty alarm systems and restoring the emotional brain to its ordinary job of being quiet and present. And so that goes back to what you mentioned. If I want to, repair that like faulty alarm system in my brain or my body, then I have to kind of do the job that maybe no one taught me how to do. I have to learn how to regulate my body and my emotions. And so it does go back to like you mentioned, how do I carry out like these simple tasks? How do I meet my most basic needs on that hierarchy of needs? And like we talked about, talking to friends, talking to your partner, letting them know, hey, like I've got to sort of be a parent for myself for a minute, or I need I need help, right? I need support in these areas. I need somebody to call me and check on me, make sure I took a bath today, or that I brushed my teeth, or that I ate, that I took a break, a lunch break. Because a lot of that comes into this lack of self awareness. I can't even. I'm so disconnected from my body that I can't even meet my most basic needs. Forget about being a friend or having friendships. I can't even get out of bed, or I can't even,
Right.
take care of
Do
myself.
your ADLs, right? Your activity
Yeah.
of daily living, like feeding yourself, washing
Right.
up, clothing yourself, right?
Right.
So that is one way, like focus on just even if I'm just doing the survival things for a minute, the physiological needs, like that's one way to start your healing is to do those routine tasks daily, even if you don't feel like it. So it's like I'm going to do these things even if I'm not consciously aware, I'm not fully feeling in my body like myself, I'm going to still go through these rituals and these routines and being, actively engaged in living so that I can start to break out of that stuck place
Yeah.
of not wanting to do anything, not wanting to get out of bed, not wanting to move, from this spot.
Yeah. So it really is essentially developing ways to help me achieve my everyday task. So, which also every day we are probably coming in contact with another person. So how do I like learn how to interact and be more flexible? How do I learn how to acknowledge and cope with feelings in the right way? Do I even know feeling words outside of angry and happy, right?
Right.
So developing those things, because I tell a lot of my clients, I say as adults, I think we're kind of like when we don't have an emotion or feelings vocabulary, we're like toddlers. We just scream and cry and yell because we don't have the words to really get our needs met. So developing an understanding of what is really going on with me. Can I sit with myself and give myself some space to kind of come from being at that flight or fight level to coming down, right? By doing deep breathing and giving myself some space to kind of think and cope in healthy ways.
Right. Yeah, so and then speaking of coping, right, in a healthy way, yes, taking care of your physical um things that you need, but then also getting physically active, I think is a good way
That's
to
good.
to cope in a healthy way. Like so moving your body, walking, um
Stretching.
engaging, stretching. Yoga is actually really good for, trauma recovery. I think they even have a specific type of yoga or modality of yoga that's trauma focused, and that helps to kind of reconnect with your body, and get back to yourself in a healthy way. One of the things you do not want to do, is turn to those unhealthy coping vices like alcohol or drugs,
Yeah.
chemical drugs, legal or illegal, to cope with trauma because you're now just using that to numb yourself and avoid having to really face what you're experiencing because it's uncomfortable and unpleasant. And so, being able to start to heal from trauma also means taking care of your body in that way and giving it good things and feeding it good food and getting good sleep and
Yeah.
um, drinking water and all of the things, that it's really saying, I'm going to love on you and protect you and support you, right? You, my body, in a way to keep it from harm and not harm it even further.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so those things. Therapy, of course, there are specific therapy modalities that are specifically used to address and treat trauma. I know you have, several trainings in that. One big one being EMDR, which is specifically a lot of people haven't even heard of EMDR outside as a therapeutic one.
Yeah.
But once therapists, a lot of therapists know about it, or are trained in it, but it's a evidence-based practice that's been proven to be highly effective for treatment of trauma. It's not the only one, but it's one of the major ones that are used. So finding a good therapist who
Who does?
practices
Yeah.
that or specializes in that is going to be helpful too.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to go to therapy, which many people don't, there's still other ways you can
Yeah.
you can work on healing and addressing your trauma. Finding even support in the community, like a support group or a group of others who may have gone through similar things. Those are also evidence based to be effective. Being able to find people so you don't feel alone, and finding people you can relate to who've gone through similar experiences to be able to have to talk about. Because sometimes talking to a friend who hasn't gone through it isn't the same as talking to someone who's been where you've been and gone through what you've gone through. So
Right.
being willing to reach out for support in a community way.
That's really
But you got to do the basics first, right? As you said, like take care of yourself, your physical body, reconnect to you, and then you can start to connect to other people.